looks like getting started. Get some Zoroark on stream. Let's get some hype in the chat. I know there's a lot of followers for ZoroakBox. I want to see you get hyped. We managed to get it on stream for you. Looks like Lucian is going first. Good friend of mine. Let's get it going. So open up with a VIP battle pass. Always good. I'll try and get down some Genesects and some Mews. But I think on paper, this is going to be a very hard match for Lucian.
Yeah, the reason why, alongside the Zoroark, it is a dark type, but it doesn't have the best attack. I believe doing 70 damage for a twin energy or double colorless. But again, having access to multiple different types of attackers, it's got that Mighty Yenna that Benji is playing as well, which has that Hustle Bark ability, allowing it to attack for 0 cost, similar to what we see with the Drapion V. And then it has an attack which does 160 base damage, 50 to itself, but that doesn't matter. You're taking free prizes.
You're taking free prize cards, yeah. And it's almost like, you know, whoever's printing the cards are thinking, right, Mew's too good, let's print a counter. So they printed Mighty Yenna, didn't quite see enough play, and they were like, right, let's take essence of Mighty Yenna and put it into Drape and make it even better on a basic. So, but it's actually loads of different attackers that are going to be good as well. Even the Flapple with that acidic mucus doing 50 for each one of your opponent's Pokemon in play that have an ability. And yeah, and you know what? I really like that Jirachi, you know, because sometimes with a Zoroark deck like this, it can be a bit hard to get, you know, your Zoroarks out and then get your right attackers in the discard pile so you can do the ability. So what Jirachi does is, if you're not quite set up, slam inactive and say, go on then, knock it out, I get 3 cards. If you don't knock it out, I'm going to attach your energy, and if I flip 2 edge, you're KO.
I think that's the second chromatic tails there. Yeah, Lucian sort of bursting off on his first turn, now using a second Fusion Strike system there to replenish his hand back up to the 6. Does have the Oricorio out as well, so that will help to kind of negate some damage, which is really cool. I mean, just that 160 times 2 with that Mighty Yenna does 320, but minus the 20, 300, with Mew VMax actually able to survive a potential hit. But of course, there are damage modifiers in the deck with that choice belt as well. And I think we do just see a passover. We'll just have a look at Benji's hand there. Those capture energies, vital to build up the board. You know, we've seen a lot of these kind of combo decks maybe play those battle VIP passes and things. Using capture energy and other cards like the Chinchino package to use that make do ability that we've seen so strong on certain Pokemon. If we look back to the Zoroarks of previous years, being able to discard a card from hand and draw 2, fantastic way of just getting cards into the discard, using those stage 1 attackers and get them into play as soon as possible. Yeah,
and I think that's one thing that might make the Zoroark deck, you know, consistent enough. I've seen ZoroakBox decks, Silver Tempest lists that aren't playing the Chinchino. I think it's just way too hard to stay consistent throughout the whole game. So while Benjamin's doing his turn, let's talk to you about how this deck actually has a decent Mugen matchup, or at least in theory, right? So we've mentioned that Flapple does 50 for each Pokemon that has an ability, but there's also a Appleton with the attack Thick Mucus, 70 for each special energy attached to all your opponent's Pokemon. So if your Lugia player gets a little bit lax with their special energy, that Appleton can come in swinging hardcore. But it doesn't stop there though. There is a Raichu as well with the Ambushing Spark attack, which does 40 plus 100 if your opponent has used their V-Star power. And obviously that works by hitting the Lugia for weakness. Now, worth noting that the Lugia player can use Dunsparce to turn it off, but you'd actually have another counter to that as well. So many counters in this deck, it's incredible. With the Behemoth, with the Psychic Arrow, doing 60 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, basically saying, get that Dunsparce out of here. So there are options. And here we actually do see the Jirachi slammed in the active.
Yeah.
Not the greatest of starts there from Benjamin. He got 2 Zoroarks down, so at least got 2 down, so you can't completely remove the Zoroark threat, but no Mincina down. Is Mincina the basic, I believe?
Yeah, that's the basic.
Mincina is the basic, so let's see if Lucian can get around this.
He's finally hit the heads on the chromatic.
Arguably could be the important one there, because you don't want to hit into this Jirachi.
No, 100%. He doesn't play anything like Escape Rope, but, you know, with these 4 DTE builds, are playing those cross switches to be able to move out of the active position. You know, currently has that Genesect there. We'll be looking to try and maybe target down a Zoroark instead. There it is. There's the double cross switcher. Get that Jirachi out of that active spot. But, you know, Benjamin, he's going to be thinking he's got at least a 1 Zoro, can start getting things going. But Lucian slams down the Judge as well. And, you know, with a combo deck like what Benji is playing, could really inhibit what's going to happen next.
Yeah, like we mentioned before, you know, the great equalizer when you're playing against your counter decks is limiting their options. And here, like you said, right, you know, Benji has all these options. He's got Flapple, he's got Appleton, he's got Mighty Yenna, but he can only use them if you get set up. Judge making both players have 4 cards. Now, Lucian can obviously just Fusion Strike System to draw, get his cards back out, right? Benjamin hasn't got Mincerian. He hasn't got that option. His only draw support is a 2 Research and 4 Serena, and as well as 2 copies of Marnie. So, not the greatest amount of explosive draw. It was actually a debate in the hotel we're staying at, actually. There's quite a few of us, I said quite a few of us, quite a few people playing Mew VMax. We're saying, oh, how many judges do we play? Do we play Judge? Do we play Marnies? And it's just interesting so far on stream. We've seen this split. I think I'm on Team Judge for this event, personally.
Yeah, because we've spoken about it before in the previous rounds where we're seeing how Marnie's impacted the game so much, but there's a lot of players now finding ways to play around it with like Oranguru plays, being able to use that Primate Wisdom ability to put a card to the top of the decks. Then now you're protected from a Marnie. But with Judge, although you're having to impact yourself a little bit as well, but in decks like Mew, because like you said, you get to draw up to 6 again with your Fusion Strike system as you play it. But you're also inhibiting your opponent because then they're having to fully shuffle back in and draw a fresh 4. So really interesting to see kind of the swings and roundabouts that we get with Judge at the moment. Because, it's a card that's been back and forth in a lot of our series so far. Doesn't look at the moment, just as we're kind of having a peek at Lucian's hand, that it's too strong.
Still needs to find that DTE. Now, he has got the Geneset V-Star power, but you want to try and save that. But I don't think he's seen a DTE yet, so he can't actually attack at this one. I don't think he can play any of those cards outside of Switch cards.
No, he doesn't. It's not ideal, but he has spun the V-Star marker. Looks like he's just going to start trying to apply pressure this way. Has prized one of his DTs, of course, so only 3 left in deck, but, this kind of mini computer search, which is amazing to have as a card with very little drawback. Especially when Mew doesn't typically have a Pokemon that has a V-Star power or ability. So there we're just having a little look, I think.
Before you just showed my comments. That was the discount power,
yeah, just confirming what the attackers do. Lucian's probably not typically a deck you may cater for or practice against as much.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think if I was preparing for Stuttgart and I wanted to practice, I think ZoroakBox is going to be lower down on the priority list. Like, sure, we can all appreciate the theory behind it and why it might be good, but actually dedicating time to test against it might be something else. Over to Benjamin Note. Let's see what happens. I do see a Research in that hand, actually. So, and we see a Level Ball. Does Level Ball get out any attackers? It does find the Flapple and the Appleton. So we could get those in the discard pile, as well as Breaks In. We actually haven't mentioned Breaks In, but it's more of an all-round attacker more so than one you might tend to want to use in this matchup. But Breaks In, 90 HP.
It's really cool.
With that Flare Parade attack, which is really interesting. 60 for each Serena card in your discard pile. What makes that really good is Serena's actually a really good supporter in its own right, letting you choose one of 2 effects. First one, letting you discard up to 3 cards from your hand, and you can draw up to 5 cards, which is really good in Zoroark because it has discard synergy for getting attack in the discard pile. Or you can just use it as a boss's orders for V Pokemon.
Yeah,
so really good supporter.
It's fantastic. That's why he's playing the maximum 4 copies alongside that Brexton as well, which is kind of a unique attacker, but then another efficient 2 energy cost attacker with those twin energies, with those double turbo energies. He's dealing a lot of damage really quickly. Now, I think from this perspective, Benji's just going to be looking to just kind of set up his board still. Not worry too much maybe about trying to get an attack off this turn because he knows he's got such good, efficient attackers for later as well. And we haven't even touched on certain ones which may not come into fruition in this type of fight, but also has the Wormadam, the fighting type Wormadam, so 30 plus 10 more damage for each of your Pokemon in your discard pile using Matron's Anger. But also the really cool Slowbro, which we want to touch on as well, is a card that works very well in a Zoroark deck. But that Twilight Inspiration, where you can only use this attack if your opponent has exactly 1 prize remaining. But there, it looks like he's going for it instead.
Here we go. If we get 2 heads, this Jirachi is going to knock out this Mew VMax. Here we go.
1 head.
He's in the Glimwood
He's using the Glimwood.
Here we go.
Oh,
where do you see Lucian? Praying, thank you, Arceus, for letting me avoid that Jirachi.
I think you can see the smile in Benji's eyes as well that he went for it. It's an incredible attack to get off, and if you do happen to pull it off, he becomes and puts himself in such a favourable position, especially the fact that he still leaves the Jirachi in an active position as well. The good thing is from Lucian, alongside those judges, and we've seen this with Christian's deck earlier, he plays 3 Path to the Peak. Path to the Peak, sorry.
Oh, yes.
So we'll turn off that ability.
That's a good point, yeah.
If he chooses to try and take out the Jirachi, limiting Benji being able to sort of then...
And
there you go.
It is. Right on cue there, Alex. You are correct.
So there's one thing, these little things that you got to start picking up, and there unfortunately means that Rulebox Pokemon is unable to activate its ability.
Yeah, and could you imagine if that was a double heads, though, how easy this game would be for Benji? All I have to do is just get out my channel at any point, because the weakness of the 4 DTE, they just want to make sure that the ability doesn't activate.
I think Benji knows it's fine as well. He's both players, seasoned. You know, Lucian, I think maybe he's in his 2nd or 3rd year as a master. Yeah, maybe 2nd. It hasn't been too long. But Benji, of course, a very seasoned player from the Netherlands as well. So knowing that, the Path to the Peak, he knows what he was coming into. With this deck, because of how, unfortunately, kind of vulnerable it is, kind of squishy their Pokemon is, doesn't really want to play against Lost Box. No. Obviously, he's 4-0 right now. Not too sure if he's had to face any, but he's obviously bobbing and weaving past him at the moment. There's the Mightyena that we see from the Evo Incense.
We could see the Phantom transformation now, and that's the thing about,
there you go. There's the Make Do as well, and the Serena to discard. Both the extra attacks, it looks like the Raichu and the Mightyena go to the discard. Does have Make Do to keep going, to try and find energy as well. So a really strong turn here, but it doesn't look like I can see an energy at the moment.
Well, the Mightyena attacks for free when you use Phantom transformation. Yeah, it doesn't even. So this is a guaranteed.
We'll be looking for a choice belt because of the Oricorio.
Oh yeah,
still.
You are correct actually. Yes.
So just looking for another option.
That's the attackers.
Which attacker do you want to see, Lucian? Which one am I going to use? I really like the Raichu. Obviously, a new card from the Silver Tempest set as well, kind of giving another opportunity to do 280 damage. But here's the Mightyena in the active spot. And there's a choice belt. Massive turn here from Benjamin Pham. Just being able to use such an efficient attack, a wild tackle. So this is not what you want to be seeing. Benji, I think, looks like he's setting up also a pivot option there, which is great. Of course, that Capture Energy grabbing another one of his many Pokemon. So that it can stream attackers. This is the power of Zoroark with that Phantom transformation, being able to just stream Mightyena multiple times if he felt like it.
Especially when the Mightyena doesn't even need energy. Like, all we have to do is just run the choice belt, right? And it's incredible. Like, Lucian's done everything right so far this game. Right? Did the early judge, combine the path to get around the Jirachi, but it just doesn't matter. That is a 1-prize Pokemon taking 3 prize cards, and Benji's hand is going to be massive, especially when you consider Make Do. So you have to imagine Lucian's going to try his hardest to find a judge here, but like you said, Make Do is going to immediately turn that 4 cards into 6, and then you get a top deck. So maybe not even Judge can get him out of this. Let's see what happens.
No, exactly that. And I think with Benji, he's already got, the only attack on Lucian's side of the board is Mew VMax. Yeah. So he has to disrupt. He has to also just try and not allow that Mightyena to come back where possible, because currently it's only 2 Zoras on the bench. So and one Zoroark is in the discard pile, of course, with that ability where it gets replaced. So Lucian here staring down some really, really scary attackers, or scary Pokemon as well. So I wouldn't know how to feel if I'm in Lucian's shoes right now, but he knows what he has to do. He does still, of course, need another Mew VMax to be able to attack. So let's see how this plays out.
And here's the sort of downside to the 4 DTE Mew is that you have no other attackers. Like, you have no Meloettas or maybe even Deoxys to throw at these 1-prize decks. You're always swinging with a 3-prize Pokemon, so you're always leaving, yourself vulnerable to just 2 KOs, and especially when your opponent can just throw a 1-prize Pokemon for no energy and KO you for 3 prize cards. And there we see a Roxanne, actually, even better than a Judge, giving Benjamin 2 cards before his top deck. And because, I mean, Benjamin, Benjamin in a good spot, but he's not 100% there. He still needs to get another Zoroark and another choice belt to deal with this Mew VMax.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, he does have the 1 Make Do, which is great, because again, he can continue seeing cards. It means he'll see 5 in total on his turn, at the least, and has the pivot option, so can kind of maneuver around things. So playing it safe, not looking at the moment, doesn't want to give anything away. Yeah, exactly. But Lucian will now just have to take this knockout and hope Benjamin isn't able to return KO. Only placed it at 2 choice belts. But Benji may look at trying to take a Genesect knockout at some stage. You know, those Serenas have the opportunity to kind of bring those up, or a bit of an easier KO, and then just access that slow bro when he wants.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because it's take 2 prizes without much going on, or maybe even knock out the easy or a choreo, then just kind of wait until he gives up until one Pokemon, and then what can Lucian really do at that stage?
But even a energy assist for Mincina's not even that bad, right? I mean, it only does 20, but I believe that would bring the Martiana back into range of this VMax, I believe, right?
It would. I guess, you know, he's got to be thinking about maybe then the Mew would look to try and Psychic Leap away, because the Cinccino's in the active has only got 90 HP. Maybe it's only a couple of tablets away from that point. But yeah, lots of different ways and unique directions and routes you can take. Eyeing up, was that a Brexin?
It was a Brexin, so I'm guessing, I think I might have seen a research in Benji's hand. Not 100% sure, but you have to imagine his hand must be good if his Evolution Sense targets a Brexin, because if the hand wasn't good, this would surely find a Zoroark, so... Yeah,
100%, but he's just continued. It's a Serena, I think, in hand as well.
Serena? So yeah, Serena discard draw 5, so... Roxanne is a lion for, well, let's say that. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. Let's see what Benji draws into. Does he get
There's
Zoroark?
Another make do as well, so even more card draw there.
Well, I think that... did the Mincino just get a bit... Oh, no, I see what you mean. You got the active one, yeah. So
and he's got one in hand as well, so he could have evolved the one on the bench. There you go.
Oh, yeah, so it does.
So it's another trade option there. Level ball, just kind of getting other Pokemon out of his deck. You know, thinning it out, making sure he gets his options and and cards ready to draw the right ones, because obviously he needs to see another Zoroark. 1 prized, of course, so 2 more in deck somewhere. But he's going to be thinking, I'm in a pretty good spot here. I'm quite happy.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's the behavior just in, don't we? Lucian's
right, there's another attacker.
That is
We're
funny.
Learning as we go.
That is funny.
He doesn't quite have the access that us casters currently have, but that Psychic Arrow is an attack to start sniping away at things while she bosses another thing up. So there's the make do, another attacker into the discard. 2 cards there from Benji. Just kind of, I think maybe not at the moment.
I imagine we might be seeing an ordinary one in this hand here, because like he's debating what's going on here. You have to imagine if there was a Zoroark in that hand, that would have came slamming down furiously. So just checking the discard pop, he's working out what attackers.
Getting his attackers to the side, you know, it just makes it a little bit easier to keep track of things. You know which attackers are going to be used. You know, we've seen on some Mew lists, particularly more fusion ones, I suppose, play the sort of things like Lost City. That could have been a fantastic way to kind of get rid of the Mighty Hyenas and other kind of annoying attackers against your deck. But of course, with this version, Lucian's just having to rely on Path to the Peak and sort of things like Judge and Roxanne. Looks like it's just a just a 40. So he's forcing
20 sort of
he's just kind of forcing that situation. Where you may have to Psychic Leap, because he's threatening with the DT on, because DT also reducing 20 damage from the Mighty Hyena as well. But he has the other Zoroark there ready. He's forcing him having to potentially Psychic Leap. And at that point, Benji can look at maybe trying to target something a little bit easier than this new VMax without having to force the Mighty Hyena play. So just for the time being, I think it's quite happy with it. Both at 3 prizes. Lucian still has to attack 3 times before anything comes down, so Benji happy to take his time here.
And that's a good thing when you play a singleton 1 prize deck into a deck that only attacks with 1 prize, is that you have time. You are not on a clock by any means. You just have to do that Mighty Hyena attack twice, and you can just mess around, do whatever for a little bit, and then just bang, swing the game right back in your favour. Looking at Lucian's hand there was a judge and a boss's orders. You want to know a funny story about that boss's orders, Alex? Is I gave him that boss orders last night because he needed 1 extra. So
you really are a source of all cards, aren't you, Shay? It does seem like a lot of players were sort of looking for cards and decks. I mean, Lugias have been hard to get hold of as well. And here we go, more disruption here. I mean, it hurts Benji far less now. He's got 2 Cinccino's out. We're likely to see 1 go down, of course, but Lucian does play the plays cross switcher, but 1 is prized. So he's going to have to try and target this active one, which still means after drawing 4, Benji will be seeing 7 cards. I mean, draws 1 for turn, make do.
And that's the tail end of a research. Normally,
yeah, exactly.
Make Do, I think, is a really good addition to this deck. To help keep you ticking over, letting you not only get attackers in the discard pile, but then make yourself immune to these Roxans and Judges. Like, it's really nice for.
Yeah, we've seen it in many other decks. So here's the 4th Chromatic. Oh, it's 3 out of 4 tails there for Lucian. Does have the DTE attached. Will Fusion Strike system for 6 cards, I believe, for a fresh 6, which is fantastic. Again, he's in the game. Just being able to play this. This is why so many Mews, we've seen them on stream already, because you're just getting involved. And there's a 2nd Power Tablet. Being able to now use Psychic Leap, should he look to do so, and just be able to heal his Mew back up. Just confirming.
Looks like he's going for the leap. Yeah, that is a KO. What does he choose to promote here? Because Oracle is actually really useful. Maybe it's just a Genesect.
Yeah,
there
you go.
Genesect, yeah.
Yeah, makes complete sense here, because it's likely to kind of tank a hit. The Slowbro only sort of coming into play when there's your opponent's on 1 prize remaining, so can't come in yet. It's in Benji's back pocket. I wonder if Lucian's kind of thought about that yet. Be interesting to see how he kind of maybe navigates around that, but it will be interesting to see how Benji is able to play out the rest of his turns. So he's just kind of making sure what's available to him at the moment. I didn't quite see what card he did play to kind of
to get this deck search. Yeah.
Well, that's his discard, right?
Oh, I think it must be his discard, because you can just see that. Yeah, that Slowbro is really interesting. If you could just boss something up, take 2 prizes. If your opponent can't move it, and you just take 2 more.
Yeah, that's
Slowbro that's an interesting Pokemon right there. Perfect in a deck like this, though, right?
Yeah, just towards the end. Oh, there's a make do.
So there's a make do. Get rid of Amani. Draw 2.
There you go. So interesting to see. Just
research. Glimwood. Choice Belt. Choice Belt is actually pretty big.
That's massive. Oh, there's a Zoroark straight into the. Ooh, he's gone into Breaks In.
Oh, because the Breaks In hits the Genesect for weakness, right?
Yeah, it does. There's the twin energy, and this is going to put Benji straight down into just 1 prize remaining,
card left.
And all he has to do really, if he can, he could wait for the Slowbro play, or just go for the knockout if he wants to.
Yeah.
But it's incredible. Oh, he's targeted Mew as well.
Oh, and here's the problem.
That's
doing the Psychic Leap. If you only have 2 Mews in play, is that you leave yourself vulnerable, and there's the concession.
There we go.
Yeah.
Benji very pleased with his play there. It's fantastic.
Cards, it's but the Mighty Enna is prized this game. The Mighty Enna is
might be a bit of a slower
game
this time, unless Jirachi can use that wonderful attack again and actually pull it off this time. But yeah, Mighty Enna is prized. Benji's not going to be too happy about that, but here we go. Get into game 2. ZoroakBox 1-0 against Mew right now, and we're going to see Lucian go first again with a Chromatic. Looks like he got a heads, that's why he's going straight through that deck.
I'm guessing that's a head. The speed at which he was going through that deck, that has to be a heads. And let's take a look at Lucian's prize cards there. 1 DT is a bit questionable. 3 ball search cards is going to make it hard to get your hand size down to draw cards or Fusion Strike system, but apart from that, prize is okay. But for Benji, the one thing that can make this game a whole lot more interesting is that Mighty Enna being in the prize cards. Now, it is in that sort of mid-territory, so hopefully he can take it towards the mid-game, but it won't be the immediate prize cards being taken. At least on an assumption that it won't be. So what an interesting wrinkle that is.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see how maybe he now utilizes the other attackers in the game. So being able to maybe use things like the Flapple, where it's just for 1 energy cost, using that acidic mucus, that 50 times the number of Pokemon in play that have an ability, dealing heavy damage very quickly after the Phantom Transformation. Because the Genesects, they all have to come into play. Then also the Oricorio has to come into play, because we see how much effect that comes in as well. So damage racks up very quickly, even without the Mighty Enna. Maybe he could take 2 prizes here and there with the Flapple, or maybe using some of the other Pokemon as well.
Even Zoroark with a Choice Belt swinging for 200 into a Mew VMax. That's not a bad number.
That's it, a Mew V, that's a KO.
Oh, a Mew V, exactly, yeah.
So there's so many different options here. And then we've already seen that Breakson come in and just dealing, I mean, it's hitting for weakness already on the Genesect if it wanted to. And it could just do a lot of damage very quickly. So, I mean, we're seeing Lucian kind of semi-pop off again, going on his first turn. He's got most of his board set up right now with 5 Pokemon out in play. and just passes over to Benji. So see already double level ball in hand, capture energy.
Double level ball capture, and I think a research. You don't think you can ask for a better start than that?
Not at all, considering he's not playing Battle VIB Pass or anything like that, where he just wants to get all his Pokemon out because they all evolve. He'll be looking to try and get that Jirachi at some stage, maybe put it in the active again. You know, I think this is a great hand for Benji.
And here we go. I think he's just doing a secondary prize. So he's thinking, I ain't prized it, have I? There's no way I've prized it. Let's look for the reaction.
He's a keen card game player. He knows how to keep a poker face.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, true.
So he's as well as I know him, he seems to he knows how to keep things on the wraps. He keeps his emotions in play. But at the same time, he's been smiling throughout. He generally is a happy player anyway, to be honest. But here we go. Here's the extra double level balls, the extra search. I'm sure we'll see a capture come down shortly as well. Maybe he can even use Call for Family from the Minccino as well.
That is
build up the board even more if he likes to. Or even consider retreating into the Jirachi. So many options. If he's got that research in the hand, he's got double Evo Incense.
Wait, if there's a research in hand, this hand is actually cracked. Getting all the cards you want in the discard pile, turn 1, and then ending the turn at least with 7 cards in your hand. You can with more resources to use, maybe.
I think you can see from leaving Lucian had just a little chuckle there. He's just seeing multiple ball searches, the Evo Incense. All of these cards just sort of coming out. He hasn't seen the Mightyena yet, which might be a little bit of a telltale to say like,
yeah, true. Actually,
why isn't that going? Why isn't that coming out anytime soon?
You do see the Slowbro hit the discard pile, I imagine.
There's the capture energy. Just more search. This is.
Who needs a VIP battle pass, eh? Who needs that?
Well, I mean, he hasn't benched him yet. But there's the Jirachi though.
And I was thinking when I saw the Mightyena prize, I wonder if Benji would look to try and utilize the Jirachi a bit more. Then I mean, I guess at the very least, if you don't want to call for family this turn, you can pay retreat, jam it in the active, and say go around it, or
you have to
give me 3 cards.
Yeah, you have to put that path that you play
or path as well
into play. But that means at some point you're limiting yourself as well. Though. You know, what we're starting to see with this list.
There it is.
Straight in the discard.
Lucian giving it the nod, like, well done.
I mean, yeah.
What a turn 1.
Perfect turn 1 turn for Benji as well. Has energy ready for next turn. Of course, Lucian does play the disruption. Defensive Mew does call for family, it looks like, which is, I think, ideal. This is the best turn 1 you can get, or you can ask for from Benji.
What a turn 1. If you want to learn how to play a ZoroakBox at home, you need to watch that turn 1. That was lovely.
It was.
Two Zororas, the Jirachi, 3 Mincinos. That means Benji's most likely going to have access to hopefully 1, maybe even 2 mate dues, 2 Zororas down, so they're not going to be bossed, and Jirachi's just there in case for whatever reason that gets KO'd. You're getting hopefully 3 cards from your deck. What an incredible start. Love to see it.
Yeah, and that's it. It's gone back over to Lucian. So he's already just been staring down all these attackers. Instantly evolves his Mew V, of course, but he's just got to be thinking, how can I stop him now? I thought Lucian popped off. But Benji, he took it to a whole new level with that.
Double VMax is interesting. I guess if you know that the Mightyena is prized, it makes going double VMax a bit safer.
He's used the V-Star ability as well, but he still does have 1 slot, right? So maybe he's just having to play down cards so that he can draw more.
Yeah.
But because he has that extra slot there as well, he can bench another Mew so that he can utilize Psychic Leap. Just as we say that, there it comes down. I think you just asked how many cards in Benji's hands as well. Just whether those judges are going to be worth it to use. You know, he does play double switch card. He's going to need to get that Genesect out the active spot as well. Does Chromatic? Oh, there's big. Yeah, he's starting to hit those heads now.
There we go. I wonder if we'll see some heads on Jirachi this game. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we do see the heads here. It looks like he's going for the judge. Which makes sense. I'm not sure how many cards are in Benji's hand, but you know, if it's anything over 4, then being a little bit of a disruption is always nice. I wonder if Lucian will put the path into play. No, he does not. There was a path in his hand, but chooses not to. It makes sense. Where you've got your
not
own,
for now. It's absolutely fine until he needs to maybe take out that Jirachi. Don't need to play the path because he wants to be using Fusion Strike system to keep going. He still has 1 more on the bench there, ready to go as well. So. He's going to be looking to try and apply some pressure here. Right now, there are no Chinchinos on Benji's side of the board. You know, this 4 could stick. Could put Benji in a bad spot. and that's what he's hoping for. So, yeah, let's see how both these players draw. Benji tends to keep his hand down, doesn't want to look at them, give anything away, as we mentioned before either. Both players there just kind of counting out the cards before so they don't overdraw, which is good to see.
Of course, yeah.
Little things.
And I guess from Lucian's point of view, if you saw Benji play 2-level ball to Evolution Incense turn 1, you could hope, or you could maybe try and assume that the probability of him drawing really good on the back of a judge when there are 2 less level ball, 2 left Evolution Incense makes it harder, right? It means that first Evolution Incense might have to target Chinchina instead of a Zoroark. You know, just making it a bit harder, you know, forcing plays that otherwise might not have to be made.
Does have the switch card to get out of it as well, and now Fusion Strike system.
I think we need to see the energy still, though,
from
Lucian.
Still needs the energy, but he's drawing back up to 6, which is great. Ooh, doesn't look like
energy there. And I think he's only plays 2 Genesects that
looks like
play.
He's already used Forest Seal Stone as well, so because he did vacuum it away and that marker is turned over. Now it's just kind of deciding. He doesn't really want to sacrifice his new VMax to give up 3 prizes. He just has to kind of consider giving 2. Doesn't want to put another Geneset down, of course, because he's already had to cram 1 cross switcher away and use 1 switch card, and doesn't want it stuck in the active.
All right, so over to Benji. How did the judge treat him? I'm guessing by the sort of decisiveness of his hand, it might not be the most easiest of hands to work with. Let's see what he...
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry, voice was going a bit there, I apologise. So let's see what he's working with. It looks like we see a pay retreat.
Yeah, it looks like just wants to check the discard. He's going to go into the Zoroark. Because, again, we spoke about this a moment ago when we... he's gone straight into the
and there we go,
Zoroark
we mentioned.
Attack. So being able to just use Zoroark doesn't actually do much else. Just 9 dazes for a knockout there on the Mew V. 70 damage, of course, with the Choice Belt. Dealing 100 times 2 because it's weak to Dark. Just an instant attack, and that's an instant 2 prizes for Benji there as well. Hasn't touched the Mighty Ena yet, which is in the middle. But as you mentioned, it's going to be that card that's going to be mid-game, but it could be the way for him to be able to actually get past it. So straight back over to Lucian now, where the Mew VMax is in an active position yet again. This time wanting to allow the Mew VMaxes to be able to maybe take a hit because it's such a bigger Pokemon compared to the rest. But yeah, there's Benji already starting the prize race off as Lucian's just kind of mulling over his cards and hand right now. Again, in an awkward spot. There's a switch card. There's a retreat switch card. As you become more of a more seasoned player, more used to it, you kind of get used to making these kind of shortcut plays. As long as you kind of tell your opponent exactly what you're doing, make sure your opponent knows as well. So both players are sure what's exactly happening. Just could do little shortcuts like that to really help you. Save some time.
Speed everything off. And I just can't believe how good that judge was for Benji. 4 cards. Zoroark, Twin, or whatever it was. Twin there. Energy. And then the Choice Belt. Perfect. I mean, like we alluded to, when the Mighty Ena's in the prize, we will have to see these alternate attackers, right? And Zoroark proving good. We do see another judge get fired off back onto Benji. And you have to imagine that if the first judge, I mean, at least in the sense of didn't see draw supporters or evos, maybe this one might hopefully see him some.
The good thing is for Lucian, because it is a judge and not a Marnie, it's not as if those cards that weren't a supporter or anything else, they're getting shuffled back in. So he could give him the exact same hand again, which is good for Lucian. Well, so long as he doesn't get another Zoroark, DC, Twin Energy, another Choice Belt, and being able to get another massive attack all of a sudden. It could be another 4 dead cards again. So unlike Marnie, which would have put all those unfortunate less playable cards at that point to the bottom and a fresh 4, this kind of puts him in a better position here. But it doesn't look like he got energy from his judge and just had to pass over.
Was that a pass?
Because I think Benji just drew a card.
Yeah, I think you're right. Oh, goodness. And that can be the...
Oh, please.
What's happening?
Do you know how much value we get from using the DT on the Jirachi? Because it reduces the amount of damage, but when you attach a DT to attack.
Wow, this Night Days is taking 4 prize cards with Night Days. But yeah, you're right. Energy on the Jirachi, because obviously the -20 doesn't matter when it's on Jirachi.
So that's where you get the most value.
The next card was a DTE, of course. See Lucian have a little chuckle to himself there.
Yeah, just a reminder, of course, the Zoroark is doing 180 damage to a MUV because of the Oricorio. You know, it's 200 with the Night Days attack, but then -20 from the Oricorio ability there as well. But yeah, amazing to see the Zoroark not even using Phantom Transformation right now. It's just going through, but there you go. I think that was must have been well, it would have been a Techno Blast.
Yeah, it has to be a Techno
Max
Blast.
Miracle was not enough. Benji.
Is Benji going to treat us to an actual misfortune?
He's got plenty of time, so theoretically he could.
You know what I mean? Under no immediate time pressure here.
Does have the Mighty Yenna now, though.
Oh, true.
We'll still need the choice belt. But
good point, actually. And the Zoroark had one as well, so there's only one left in deck,
only one left in deck. But, you know, he could lead us down the road of an astral misfortune. Whilst he continues to build up his board. He also means he leaves the Jirachi in the active position. If it gets knocked out, taking any free cards, guaranteeing almost the dub at that point.
I almost think it, like you said, you build the board up behind, maybe even get the Zark to play maybe and just be like, right, deal with this first. And then, hey.
But maybe you can't. Maybe I can just win.
Or maybe I'll just win, You know, you might draw into your Glimwood. You might just roll the dice and get it off the 25% chance. You never know.
And here it is. There's the first Make Do come down now from Benji's side. Looks at, he's discarding the twin.
Interesting. I guess he's all aboard the Mighty Yenna train now, I believe. So maybe energies outside of Slowbro might not be too helpful.
That's a couple of captures there.
2 capture. Was that a rod, I might say? Yeah, 1 rod.
So just kind of making sure.
Get the Zoroark and Zorui. You don't want to be shuffling back in those stage 1 attackers because you need them in the discard pile.
And is that Serena as well? I think in the back of his hand, 2 capturing the Serena. That's what it looks like. Yeah, he's gonna just get another Zoro out.
Capture the Zoro, I imagine. Yeah,
makes sense. Give himself some insurance against just the 1 Zoro going down. So it'll be really interesting here now to see whether he'll go down in this direction with this Jirachi attack.
I'm really hoping, Benji. Go on, here's a treat. Here's a treat, lad. Come on.
for the stream, Benji.
For the stream.
But here's Serena drawing up to.
I guess he's going to draw fresh 5.
Draw fresh 5 first.
Right. So I guess depending on what the Serena draws is whether the Jirachi gets you. We could see the Zoroark come down now. Let's have a look. I saw at least an ordinary rod. There's an Evolution Incense. That's a great start. Finds the Zoroark.
He just wants to set up his board because he knows he's been Roxanne and judged by Lucian already from game 1 and in this game. So, he's just kind of making sure he's protecting himself here. In all honesty, because Lucian still has 5 prizes to go, I don't dislike the Jirachi play right now.
No, I genuinely think it might be the play.
Just whilst he continues to have his board, I mean, he's probably going to be hand disrupted again. There's another Make Dude. Ordinary Rod gone.
There's a Glimwood. You can see he's thinking about it. Yes.
The Glimwood comes down. Lucian's just shaking his head a little bit, wondering if it's coming.
Go on, let's get some hype in the chat for Jirachi. Come on, come on. Go on, Benji. I could just read the facial expression. If you drew the Glimwood, you thought I might as well. See Lucian like, don't do me like this.
I mean, it just makes a lot of sense right now.
Here we go.
Astral Misfortune, first 2.
Oh,
that's a tails. There's at least 1.
Got one more. Here we go.
Here we go.
The 5.
It's disappointing, but Benji's not going to be too upset.
No, you're in a fine position.
He's so far ahead that Lucian has to continue playing. I mean, I suppose you don't necessarily need to take out this Jirachi. You want to try and get rid of the rest.
You want to get rid of the Saruas, I think, surely.
But it's really difficult right now. Here we go. There's an Ultra Ball, it looks like. I think he's just going to have to kind of go through his deck and see what else is remaining. Gets another Genesect out as well, now making it a bit of an easy target for that Flapple.
Good point, actually. Yeah, for sure.
Or easier target, I should say. Again, might still need the choice belt to be able to reach the 190 or over 190 damage. Because right now, with just 4 Pokemon with abilities on, it's only doing 200 minus the 20 from Oricorio, 180. Still not quite enough. There's the choice belt from Lucian, which isn't required.
No.
There's the path as well.
Is that a Roxanne?
That is a Roxanne.
So you might see the Roxanne, but like you said, Benji developing the Minchinos. you know, can go Roxanne path, and that's what we're going to see, Roxanne path. So no astral misfortune for Lucian today, unfortunately. I imagine if this Jirachi goes down, we could see some cross switch. I imagine probably not, because you can't really let this Jirachi hang around when it can just auto KO stuff. But
no, I mean it's very unlikely, but it has that potential.
You have to respect it.
It'll be interesting to see if Benji's able to close out this with the remaining 8 and so minutes or so, whether he has been able to take any knockouts so far in this tournament with astral misfortune. But, you know, currently Lucian's still fighting to find a way back into this game at the moment. Benji having already taken 4 prizes with just a Zoroark. And there is the Mew going back into the active, ready to kind of take out this Jirachi. And
Technoblast. Sorry, Jirachi. You tried your best, I'm sure. But here you go. Like the Roxanne, you know, when you've got 2 Genshin, it's not as bad. Let me see.
That's just...
This is... I mean, Lucian puts the thumbs up, but inside he can't be happy with
Zoroark and the Juniper... Research, sorry.
Still needs the choice belt actually to get the win here, though, I guess, with the Mightyena. So maybe it's not completely out of reach yet. But here's your level ball. I'm going to get another Chinchino, I believe.
Just get another Pokemon out. Can use it as make-do targets.
Yeah, that as well.
So it's just kind of unless he finds the choice belt, there's no one-hit KO opportunity here yet. Yeah. Could apply some pressure. Of course, there's 2 Mew VMaxes. There's no opportunity to leap away either.
No.
So Lucian will still have to find a way to take 4 knockouts here. So, yeah, I mean, Benji's position, there's the choice belt.
Oh,
and
my
I think,
goodness.
yeah, there's the Mightyena
Drew
about
the choice
to come.
Belt.
That's it. This is a free retreat with the pivot. And there we see a wild tackle.